Coach Tim Adams here, and welcome to the Daily Movement Challenge, the exercise of the day, and the Monday movement, or Movement Mondays. And today, we're going to be talking about the 11-minute routine. And I want to go into a little more detail on this because it's been free, and it's going to go away. So if you want access to the 11-minute routine, get it soon. It's literally days it's going to be gone, and then you're going to have to purchase it. And you can get it at coachtimadams.com. Go to the courses and you'll see the 11-minute routine there. You can get it. It's got a video. I walk you through that video every day, and you'll be able to do that. You'll have it, and you can use it every day, right? If you don't want to do that, sign up, get the 11-minute routine now, get it for free, and you get access to it. So today, I want to show you the Tai Chi rotation, which is on the first strip. So there's 15 exercises in the 11-minute routine. And the 11-minute routine was designed very specifically to decrease pain, prevent injuries, increase the body's ability to move efficiently, prepare the body for load. And it's really intended to open you up and prepare you for the work that's to come. And it's designed specifically to get your body to function as it was intended to function. And all of us are in compensation. All of us have compensatory patterns that we've picked up over periods of time. And if we don't do anything about those compensatory patterns, then it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're going to break down and have a traumatic injury. So the premise behind the 11-minute routine was specifically designed for that. It was birthed out of necessity. I was hired to be the strength and conditioning coach for the Oakland Raiders, and I was hired because I was this cutting edge results producing performance coach, and this was back before they even knew what that was, right? And so Coach Callahan wanted to bring in this cutting edge concept to the NFL, and so I applied it, and everything was going great. Guys were getting bigger, they were getting faster, they're getting stronger. But during the season, we ended up having 15 guys going IR, and I took full responsibility for that. It was under my watch, and what I realized was before that and even after that, all my clients that I've ever worked with, that I had my hands on 3 days a week, not one of them ever went on IR. Not one of them had a season-ending injury. And so I had to take a step back and really figure out what's going on. Like how was it that I can, if my hands were on my clients, they stayed healthy. At the Raiders, I couldn't touch the players. That was the medical staff's job. And so I didn't account for that. And so it took me a couple years to figure out, but I figured it out, and I came up with the 11-minute routine. And so, and I'm gonna talk you through that process on the board here. But before I do that, I want to show you one of the exercises. And this first exercise is what I call a joint activation. And you're going to start with your feet just slightly wider than hip width apart, and you're going to take the back of your hand and you're going to tap your lower back. And you're going to take the front of your hand and you're going to tap the front of your obliques. And so I'm just going to rotate, let my hands kind of flop from one side to the other, and I'm just going to do this movement here. And when I do this movement, and I know you can't see my feet right now, but I'm going from a supinated position to a pronated position as I rotate from one leg to the other. So my feet are kind of doing this as I rotate, and so I've got movement in my ankle, my knees are rotating, my femurs rotating on top of my tibia and my fibula are moving. So now I've got movement in my knee, I've got movement in my hips, my greater trochanter is moving into the acetabulum, and I'm getting movement in the hip joint. Obviously my sacrum and my iliums are moving, my lower back, my rib cage, shoulders, even my neck. So this is a total body joint activation movement, and it is what I consider to be one of the best movements that you can do on a daily basis, because it's more than just joint activation. This movement, the Tai Chi rotation, it really has has the ability to upregulate your system. It increases blood flow, it enhances lymphatic return, and it has the ability to, from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, upregulate your qi, your ki, your dharma, your life force, your energy, right? So I do it every morning when I get up. I have all my clients, they do it as part of the dynamic warm-up, as part of this 11-minute routine that you're about to download and get and make sure you have. So the concept of this 11-minute routine was, what do I do when I work with a client? When I put them on a table and I put my hands on a client and I reset the client, what's going on? And so this is what's going on. And so if you look at the body, and this is a super simplistic version, there's so many components to what happens to the body, how the body is affected by external and internal influences. So we have stressors that are influencing how our body adapts, how our body starts to adjust and relate to what's going on to our environment, internally and externally. And so this is a super simplistic model. I get it. There's a lot of other factors. But if you take care of these three factors, you're going to get 80%, at least 80% of those factors taken care of, almost instantaneously. So, and I say that, and it's, I'm not just, this, for 25 years I've been coaching. I've been a performance coach for 25 years, and I've been applying these concepts for the last probably 15 of those 20 years since the Raiders. And it made me, this is really like cutting edge stuff. There's not many people that do this. There's people that think they do this, but not many people do this. So get that 11-minute routine, because it can be life-changing, right? So it all starts with this bottom base is the skeletal system. And so we look at really our joint down here. So where one joint, one bone sits on top of another bone. That's really what we're looking at here. Over here, we're looking at the muscle. And over here, we're looking at the nerve. So when you think of the joint, most people think of chiropractor, and chiropractors, osteopaths, manual therapists, they deal with the joint. And what we're looking for is that we want that joint to sit properly on top of the other joint. We don't want it off-centered. We don't want it rotated. We don't want it forward. We don't want it back. We want it right where it was intended to be, in a line. We want alignment of the joint. But it doesn't stop there. We don't just want alignment. We want the joint to be able to articulate independently of each other. So the bottom part of the bone needs to articulate independently than the top part of the bone. So there's got to be this movement that occurs at the joint. And a lot of times, because we're in pain, or we're immobilized, or we don't even know it, our body gets immobilized and we don't move that joint. And when you don't move the joint, then the joint surface that doesn't get exposed starts to degenerate, starts to build up adhesions and scar tissue, and it makes it more difficult for you to get that range of motion. So it's this concept of use it or lose it. So I'm all about getting that joint to move. But it doesn't stop there, because you can't just get the joint to move. Because if you just get the joint to move, you still have an unstable joint, because the muscles that surround that joint aren't firing properly. They're known as latent. The muscle doesn't fire at the right time, because there's a sequence. For every movement that we do, regardless of what it is, whether it's skipping, whether it's moving, whether it's pressing, whatever, punching, there's a sequence, a proper patterning that occurs, that needs to occur in order for you to move fluidly and efficiently, right? When we're in compensation, our sequence is off. One doesn't occur at one. The muscle that's supposed to fire first doesn't fire first. It might fire third, it might fire 10th, maybe 15th. So we have to re-educate that muscle, and that's where the nerves come in. But we have to look at the muscles, right? We have to activate the muscles, and we're looking at the joint segmental stabilizing muscles. They're small, tiny muscles that go around the joint, that support the joint. And when we get those to reactivate, now the body is going to give us that range of motion because it's not in fear of being in a fight or flight mechanism. It's not in a survival mechanism. It allows us to get the range of motion that our body was intended to have. So now we can actually move with a greater range of motion. So then we move to the nerve, and so the individuals that deal with muscle would be traditional, the massage therapist or soft tissue therapist, individuals like that. And then we move to the nerve. And the nerve, individuals that deal with the nerve would be like the physical therapist, the personal trainer, anybody that deals with patterning or educating the body on how to move more effectively or efficiently. Coaches do this a lot. And the nerve is really, the nerve controls the muscle, which controls the joint. So the nerves fire, send a signal to the muscle. The muscle contracts. It's attached to the joint, which allows for movement, mobilization. So the nerve could be restricted because the joint could be restricted. The foramen of the spinal cord, you have these areas of the spinal cord that if you have a restriction in the joint, it's closed off. So for those who live in California who have ever driven the 10 or the 405, right? It's like taking a 7-lane highway and closing it down to 1 lane during rush hour. We want that highway to be opened back up to 7 lanes so we have a full driving force of that neurological signal to the muscle so the muscle can contract properly, effectively, and at the right time in order to move that joint, right? So when we look at this system, this is the 11-minute routine. Joint activation, muscle activation, and movement activation. And so what it does is when we do this properly, we create stability. And that stability, like I said, our body will only give us the range of motion it can stabilize. Once we have stability, our body then gives us mobility, right? Once we have mobility with stability, we move efficiently. Once we have these three components, stability, mobility, and efficiency, now and only then can we load the system. And that's where capacity comes. And capacity is what people call resilience. It's what people call anti-fragile. It is what allows us to build a massive engine that resists stress. And that's really my job. My goal for every single one of my clients is to build a massive engine, to build the capacity to handle stress, that you will have the ability to endure, that you will have longevity, that you will have sustainability in what you do, right? And that's the whole premise behind the 11-minute routine. I want to get you out of pain, I want to keep you out of pain, and I want you to move fluidly, efficiently, and effectively so that we can build a bigger engine, so that we have that capacity to move forward and to be able to perform at our very best day in, day out for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years to come. Make sense? So that's the 11-minute routine. Download it, get it, buy it. I'd love for you to buy it, but use it. And you have to use it every single day. Every single day you should be doing this, regardless of whether you're doing a workout or not. It's a great movement to do. And if you're working in an office, get up every 50 minutes and perform the 11-minute routine. If you're an athlete, you're doing it before you do any type of work set. Before you get even into your dynamic warm-up, you're doing the 11-minute routine. It becomes part of your daily routine. Make sense? All right. Hope this was beneficial. If it was, please share. Please pass this along to those who are in need. And that if you know someone who sits at a desk, if you know someone who is an athlete, is a professional athlete, is an aspiring athlete, share this with them. They need it. If you're a coach for your kids' team, download it. Get your kids to do this. You'll notice you'll decrease the chances of injuries, and your kids are going to be more prepared to perform during the game. So have a great day, and I'll see you guys.